What's good, everybody, man? This is your guy, Manny, and this is the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel. So today, man, we're going to recap. We're going to talk about the Game 4. Magnificent game. Already, I was thinking this is going to be a terrible, trash finals because the first two games didn't really give me any hope for this series, but the last two games have been two of the better games of this series, and now the series is tied 2-2, and I'm excited, and I'm glad about that. So now I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go through some of the highlights, and I'm going to talk about the box score, what went well, what didn't go well. This was a magnificent game, man. I really, really enjoyed myself last night. So I'm going to share my screen in just 1 minute. But yeah, man, I was hoping for not the Suns, but the Bucks to tie this game, so it can be a little bit of excitement going into this thing. So here we go, man. Let's kick this thing off. Devin Booker had a good game. Devin Booker had what, 40-something points? Booker had, let me look it up. He had 42 points. He shot 17 for 28 from the field. He was almost perfect from the free throw line. But he had those 5 fouls, and we're going to get into those in a minute. Devin Booker should have been fouled out on 2 separate occasions, and because that didn't happen, that kind of changed the entire game. Somebody complained about Middleton only shooting the ball 4 times, but he's not aggressive. He's not that guy. Bridges is not a guy that creates for himself. But it was a breakdown to start the game with Chris Paul having a clear lane, and then DeAndre Ayton having a wide open dunk as well. So I think those are all the shots that Bridges took pretty much. I think he had 4 points. And Giannis started off pretty slow, so I didn't think that Giannis was gonna have a good game, but he had a decent game. Can't complain. Bobby Portis came in right here and kind of gave these guys a lift because they needed something. The minute that Bobby Portis came into the game, he brought some energy. He's a crowd favorite. The crowd loves him, so that was good to see. But man, Booker was just so smooth, man. And I'm actually proud of DeAndre Ayton, man. He actually played pretty well. What did he have? DeAndre Ayton had 6 points, 17. Okay, he was more aggressive on the defensive end, but it seemed like he had more points, though. Looking at the box score, I'm shocked to only see that he only had 6 points. I thought he had at least 10 or 12, but he did have 17 rebounds. He did have 3 blocks. I think I saw more so of his presence on the rebounding side of things and, blocking. But Ayton, he played well considering everything. He played 39 minutes. He was their stable force in that middle. So I think he played well. Scoring is not everything, but it definitely would have helped if he had more than 6 points. That's for sure. Jrue Holiday is so useless, man. He's so useless. Looking at the box score, he had 13 points, but he shot 4 for 20. It's amazing that he had 13 points, to be honest. Lopez played decent. He had 14 points, had 1 rebound. So let me ask you guys this. Do you rather have a center that gets 14 points and 1 rebound or a center that gets 6 points and 17 rebounds and 3 blocks, 5 assists? So DeAndre Ayton, even though he only had 6 points, had more of a impact. Devin Booker's so smooth, man. And Jrue Holiday's supposed to be what? All defense this, all defense that. This shot right here is nearly impossible. D Booker, man. Telling you, every time Jrue Holiday shot the ball, I was like, you know what? He is not going to make this. He is not going to make this. Giannis Antetokounmpo had 26 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. So even though he didn't have his typical 40-point game that he's been having the past few games, he was still able to come in and give you very good stats. Crowder makes timely threes, man. If your team is going against Crowder, you'll be pissed because he's going to come in there, defend, and then hit threes. Crowder had 15 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks. That's a pretty good stat line. If that was fantasy, you're getting tons of points off that stat line. Look at this. Booker. Come here. Scoop. Dude is too smooth, man. DeAndre. Book. Pop. Smash. Chris Paul. To Crowder. Thought I was a splash. Thought it was a splash. I thought that was one of the splashes. Hey, Giannis ran the floor pretty well. You gotta love that effort. You gotta love that effort. Chris Paul seemed so. His head wasn't in the game. Chris Paul had 10 points, his worst game of this series, probably worst game of the playoffs so far. And he had turnovers. He had 5 turnovers. I think they said he has up to like 15 turnovers in the last 3 games. So Chris Paul got to get his act together. I always say that at home, the role players play well. So when you look at the Bucks, PJ Tucker, even though he had 0 points and 5 fouls, PJ Tucker played tough defense all night. And you say, well, you play tough defense and Booker still goes off. Well, guess what? Booker had to work for a lot of them points when PJ Tucker was guarding him. But Booker was destroying Holiday, though. First team all defense? Wow. You know who's the hero for the Bucks was Pat Connaughton, man. Pat Connaughton came in the game. He pretty much changed the game. He was the only one making shots. He made 3 for 7. That's 40%. You know, every shot that Connaughton made was like, you know, huge. 11 points coming from Connaughton is like Giannis scoring 30. That was the impact that Connaughton had in this game, to be honest. Great steal by Giannis. Slam. Yeah, Giannis came up big. He came up big when it mattered, and that was in the second half. Middleton was so clutch. We talk about Devin Booker's 42 points, but all that doesn't matter because Middleton wiped that away. Middleton had 40 points. He was phenomenal. And Giannis was great in the passing lanes today. Can't even lie. Giannis was amazing in this fourth quarter. Middleton had 40 points, and he was really like the steadying force. He was the guy that had 20 points in the first half. Middleton was the reason why the Bucks won this game. Look at this. Just controlling the game. Mid-range king, mid-range assassin. He's just a scorer. And like I said, that block right there changed the entire game. That was amazing. That's crazy. And that was game.